So I think we're gonna move forward with our next section just so we can kind of stay on track with our schedule to the extent possible. I was really looking forward to today and was looking forward to the presentations this morning for a lot of different reasons, but I think in many ways, the afternoon of this event is the part that has kind of always excited us the most, or certainly excited me the most. And I think a key part of what we wanted to center here in the afternoon is offering a viewpoint from the perspective of someone who is both impacted by textile waste in the global South, but is also doing a lot of kind of tremendous work to try to address it and develop community engaged solutions. And so to kind of introduce this section, we wanted to just show like a very quick 1-minute video. And this video was made by the OR Foundation, who I mentioned briefly in the introductory remarks. And the OR Foundation is an organization that works in Ghana, and they work closely with people who are working in the circular economy within like the retail and recycling of used textiles, particularly in the Kantamanto market, which is one of the largest used clothing markets in West Africa. And the link to their website is right here if you're interested in checking out more about them. They have received a lot of publicity over the last few years, so many of you in the audience may be familiar with them or some of their work. So this video is just a 1-minute video that the reason we wanted to show it is that it gives like some good visuals of Kantamanto market and what this kind of trade of used textiles looks like in Ghana, which will kind of be a major topic of our discussion in the next part. So we thought having a visual would be a good place to start. So I'm going to make sure that my sound is enabled, and then there are captions or subtitles on this video. Okay, so kind of using that video as an introduction, we're going to move into a panel discussion between Matilda Lartey and Stacey Johnson. Matilda Lartey is the director of the Matilda Flow Inclusion Foundation, or the MFI Foundation in Greater Accra, Ghana. And Stacey Johnson is the director of equity and culture for Make Fashion Clean. And she's also an expert in sustainability and does a lot of work across different sustainability initiatives. So unfortunately, Stacey couldn't make this particular panel. And we also knew there was a possibility of having some tech issues with this panel. So what we ended up doing is we recorded about an hour or more than an hour long panel, which I will share the link to that shortly. But what we're going to share here today is 2 video clips of kind of some of the key pieces of conversation in the panel. And then after we show that, Matilda will be joining to answer any questions and provide some additional remarks. And I have some questions prepared, but we're really hoping that it can be more of a discussion with the whole conference. So this first clip is going to be focused on the question of what impact does textile waste have in the global South? And it's about 9 minutes just for people who like to have a sense of how long things are going to be. And so this is a conversation between Matilda Lartey, Stacey Johnson, and I was on the line just as a facilitator. So hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today to this discussion. My name is Dielle Lundberg, and my pronouns are she, her, or he, here. I feel very privileged to be moderating this conversation today between 2 really amazing people, Matilda Lartey and Stacey Johnson. Matilda is a fashion designer and community activist in Greater Accra, Ghana, where she specializes in upcycling. And then Stacey is a sustainability expert and creator of culture based in the United States. She has more than 18 years of experience in retail, with more than 10 specializing in state sustainability, with work on life cycle assessment, mitigation, adaptation, and recycling, to name just a few areas. So Matilda, could you talk a little bit about what Kantamanto Market is?
Yeah. Yes, Kantamanto Market is a market where used clothes are being sent from Europe and USA and it's a whole lot, a huge amount of fabrics. Some are on the ground and it's spread all over. So when you need any used clothes, that's the point where you have to go.
And is most of the clothing used, or is some of it kind of disposed or not used in that area?
Oh, in Kantamanto, when you come, some of the clothes are not of good use and you see them lying on the floor. Nobody even like to buy it. But yes, so they bring and dump them over there. Yeah. And it's choking our gutters and creating so many hazards. But still people bring it. And in a year or a week, a bunch of things that has been coming to Kantamanto is too much.
So kind of on this topic, can you talk a little bit about what the phrase Obruni Wawu means?
Yeah, so Obruni Wawu means white man dead clothes. So when the white man died, they have to pack all their things, then they bring it to Kantamanto to sell, which is not, some of the things are not all that good. So why is it that somebody have to die, then you pack all the things to a different country for them to use it?
So then going back to Stacey, do you think most people in the United States know that their used clothing or at least some of it ends up in places like Ghana?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because we're at the forefront right now where I wholeheartedly believe that is a shift in the paradigm that consumers are sitting in, right? We are consuming more responsibly, at least the newer generations are. You know, there is this author, and she has this quote, and she says, the way we spend our money and how we spend our money now is our vote for the future, right? And I can't agree more, right? You start to see brands that are more socially responsible. You start to see brands that are more B Corp certified. You start to see brands that are still focusing on their product, but also being very mindful of their value that they create, their entire life cycle, right? So their LCA, because they know that consumers would much rather pay, you know, $3-4 more for a shirt that was sourced responsibly and ethically, that may be made with recycled material, because then they feel like they're adding to that 1% of them that's recycled and reused each year to make that number a little bit higher. So you start to see this momentum, right? And so I think the louder this message is shared, the more spotlight that it gets in the reality and how that reality sinks in, the more likely consumers are going to start really digging into where the denim is coming from, how is it sourced, how can they responsibly recycle their denim.
So Matilda, could you talk about how all of the used clothing from abroad kind of impacts your business as an artisan or your market to sell clothing?
Yeah. So because of all these used clothing, locally, when you produce things, people don't patronize it. They don't want to. Not that they don't want to, but they think when they go to the Cantamanto market to buy these cheap clothes, it will be better than maybe you making something for them to like. So this is affecting my business so much that sometimes when you send the product to the market, even the price they want to buy it, when you talk about it, they will refer you to Cantamanto market to go and see. A lot of things are on the ground. You can get 1 cedi, 2 cedi. So why do you have to price your clothes this? So it's affecting artisans.
So kind of having looked at these two angles, the environmental and economic side, Matilda, from your perspective, do you think the clothing being sent from abroad is good for Ghana and good for artisans?
No, for me, I think it's not good for Ghana because Ghana have we have so many things that we can progress ourselves. We have a way of dressing and our culture and so many things. And if these used clothes are coming to Ghana and also making the environment hazard is something different altogether. So I think no.
So you talked a little bit about this already, but could you talk a little more about the environmental hazards that textile waste, the discarded clothing causes in your community?
Yeah, the environmental hazard, some are, you see these used clothes, the unwanted ones, you see them ending up in the landfill and it's choking the gas. And you see people when they buy it and you wear it 2-3 days and they don't like it, they have to burn it. It's creating air pollution and a whole lot. So even our drainage, most of the drainage are choked with unwanted fabric. Sometimes when you are digging, you see this fabric in the soil, and when you go to the seashore, you see the soil packed with clothing which are not of good use, and it's creating a whole lot of things. And when it rains a little bit, you see that a whole lot of floods, because the fabric waste choke the gutters into an extent that the waters cannot flow properly. So a little rain, you see that there will be a whole lot of floods around, and it's creating disease and other things. Our health is very important. So we need to do something about this. Yeah.
Some other countries like Kenya and Rwanda have gone so far as to attempt to ban the used clothing from being imported into the country. If Ghana were to decide to ban or restrict the amount of clothing sent to Ghana from other countries, would you support that, and why?
Sure, I'll really support it, because when Ghana make measures and bound these used clothes, artisan work is going to work for us. And artisans like me, I can expand my work more and employ more people, train more people. We can create more designs for the market. So it will create job opportunity for artisans. Yeah.
Thank you, Matilda. So Stacey, kind of what is your perspective on how used clothing being sent from the US and Europe might be regulated? Do you think that countries should have the opportunity to ban them, or do you have any thoughts about some sort of, I guess, policies that might change this?
I think that anytime you collaborate with another country, another person, another entity, there needs to be some kind of component built in where you can adapt, revise, add some agility to the process, right? So, historically, I don't have the input in regards to like why the US decided to start doing this, right, consistently. And I'm sure the purpose at one point, it made sense. But as time goes on, things make less and less sense. We have to adapt and find better ways to work together. So many things with recycling for other types of consumable goods that we have very little, however, integrated into the United States framework that captures textile waste, right? We recycle aluminum, we recycle plastic, we do all of these things as a market, for the market, to create shared value. But when it comes to textiles, there's no plan there. And if you look at textile production, it's up like 40-something%, something absolutely terrifying, right? Because we're making more, right? We're producing more and more and more and more. And not everything we're producing is going to be 100% sustainable, or it's made from repurposed goods, right? That's a 1% of that. So what's the plan? Because at some point we're going to hit our ceiling, and we don't have enough infrastructure set in place to be able to mediate the problems we're creating ourselves internally.
I'm in the United States and I'm thinking about donating my clothes to somewhere that will send it to Ghana. What should I do? Should I do that? Do you think I shouldn't do that? And what are some other things I might do instead?
Yeah, so if someone is in abroad and want to send his things to Ghana, I think it's not necessary for the person to do that. The person can find different means of using his used clothes. So I think the person shouldn't send the things. Yeah.
And then Stacey, you talked a bit about this earlier, but just kind of what are some like kind of accessible ways that people can reuse or repurpose clothing, either themselves or through organizations in their community?
Well, I think every community is different, right? So it's difficult to have like that. There's no magic bullet theory here. There's no one where we all can join the fight and be able to mediate the impact that it has in our market. But I do think the first call to action would be being mindful of what is available to you where you currently reside. You know, I am very aware of what's around me, whether I'm in New York or Ann Arbor. I know what brands accept denim, right? Because they want to, take it back to their factories, create more denim-based products with it, or maybe, sometimes denim gets used for stuffing inside of mattresses. You find all these like unique things about denim. Should you take the opportunity to Google something? Every community has a different level of access to means and resources. And then once you have an idea of how you can repurpose denim successfully and sustainably, then share that message outward, right?
Yeah, just to add one piece to that, I think Stacey's so right that the real key is Googling and asking, because some of the organizations that are doing really good recycling work, those organizations are out there, and then there's other organizations that are doing recycling work that is sending it to other countries and maybe has some positives but also has negatives. So it really involves asking. You can't really just assume that because it's recycling that it's good. You really need to ask and say, what is being done with this clothing? Do you know anything about what the environmental impact of that is? And that really becomes an opportunity for learning and for amplification, as Stacey shared. Okay, so those were just two kind of short clips from that longer panel. I dropped the link to the full panel discussion in the chat. You're encouraged to watch that when you have a chance if you're interested. And now I'm really happy to kind of open up the conversation to hear some more from Matilda, who is joining us. I'm going to make sure that she is spotlighted here. Okay, so Matilda, we heard a little bit about you and your work, and but it was kind of very brief in the video. So I guess just to kind of start off our discussion, we would love to hear a little bit more about you, about the work you do with the MFI Foundation, and then also just anything that you kind of immediately wanted to add to the video that we just showed.
Thank you very much for having me on this special conference, and I'm really grateful to be part of the conference. The MFI Foundation creates job opportunity for persons with disability and training programs, job opportunity for persons with disability, caretakers of disability, mothers of children with disability, and the vulnerables. And we do have recycling things because of the environmental sustainability we all need. So we try creating job opportunity for these vulnerables. We have so many persons with disability in Ghana where employment, people don't really employ them, and most of them also don't have job opportunities. So MFI have created this opportunity for them. Then we can support them in other ways. Because of this Obroni issue and the hazard is creating, we plan and we think of it deeply, and we think when we are doing recycling things with the used clothes, those are of good use, it will be helpful. So these are some of the things that we do at MFI Foundation. We do, we transform these clothing into bags, hoodies, accessories, so many unique things, fabric beads, and things. We do tie and dye also. And when you see our products, you love them. Yes. So this brief thing I want to say about MFI Foundation.
Thank you so much, Matilda, for that a little bit more information about you and the work that you're doing, and also about MFI. So I have a few questions prepared, and then I want to leave time for the audience to ask a few questions. And then if there are additional questions that we don't get to, we will be sure to make sure that you get the list of them via email, and we can send out your responses after the event too. So, so my next question is just, I'm interested in hearing a little bit more just about your upcycling process. So can you share a little bit about like how you make your products, and take us through kind of step by step what goes into making a product at the MFI Foundation? Like, where do you get the materials from? How do you take them apart? And what is the process like to remake them and transform them into something new?
Thank you very much. So as we saw the video earlier, a lot of used clothes are in Kantamanto market. That's where we go to get the type of fabric or clothes we want. And we normally work on the round t-shirts and the jeans. So the jeans also, we have different textures. So what we need is what we go and select. Then we bring them home, we rip them off little bit by little. Then we wash them nicely. After that, then have to go to processing by cutting them into whatever we want to do with them. Yes.
Thank you for describing that a little bit. And so kind of a follow-up question to that is just what are kind of the advantages in your opinion of using these used clothes to make your new products instead of using new fabrics? So what do you like about the approach? What are the advantages? And then on the other side, what are some of the challenges, or what are some of the things that are difficult about doing that?
So the advantages of choosing to do recycling is because of we want to sustain the environment. The textile waste should be low in our community. So we choose to do recycling things instead of buying the new fabrics to sew. And also the disadvantage, the challenges we face is the process it passes through. You know, unlike buying a new fabric, it's already big fabric you have, where if you want to cut it into what you want, you can easily do it. But in this case, because somebody have already used it, you don't know how it was used. So you have to make a thoroughly washing and make sure it's very clean. And ripping it off also is another process where it takes time. So the disadvantage is that it takes long process for producing whatever you want to produce out of the clothes.
Thank you for describing that. And I know I've seen your process firsthand, and I can definitely attest to the intensity that is involved in doing the sort of work that you do. So I'll just ask 2 more questions and then open it up to questions from the audience. So my first question is just, you have a group of people in this conference who are located all around the world. There's people, a lot of people in the United States, but we had people register from kind of all different parts of the world. And although there are fewer people on this call than all 60 that registered, I think a lot of people are going to also view this kind of after the event as well. So my question is like kind of speaking to those who are on the call today and those who might view this recording after the event. What are the most important things you want people to know about textile waste and its impact on your community in Amasaman, in Greater Accra, Ghana, and what do you want people to know about your work?
So one, I want people to know that when we started, a lot of people talks about textile waste and donation clothing to some areas where they have to, some people have to get it for whatever they want to do with it. Most people who donate these clothes, fine, they are doing it out of charity, but at the end, they don't know where it ends. It's creating so many things, so many environmental issues. And together, we can stand as we are doing now to advocate more about these particular issues. When people are donating their clothes, they should know where it will end. Sometimes, well, it's not their fault of donating it, but some of them also, they go there and they will pack the things like they want to use it and they bring it to the country where the person who is giving the thing don't know how that thing is going to create so many things in our environment. And also with collaboration, I know when we continue talking about it,
it looks like we're having a little bit of a tech issue. I'm just gonna wait like 20, oh, there we go. Looks like Matilda's coming back. So before we lost connection, the question that I had posed to Matilda and Matilda had started to respond to was just that at this conference, we have people from all over the world, from a lot of different fields. What do you want people to know about your work and about the issue of textile waste in Ghana? And Matilda had shared about the importance of people kind of thinking about and knowing where their donations are ending up. And then she was starting a second point and we got cut off. So I am going to hand it back over to her to continue her answer.
Yeah, so as I was speaking before the internet went, I was saying people are doing it willingly, sincere heart, but where the things end, they don't know it. So with collaboration with all of us, as we are discussing about textile waste and the hazard is creating, when we collaborate and advocate more about it and educate the people how they can reuse their own clothes, it will be helpful. So Matilda Flow also have taken it upon itself and doing recycling things to minimize the textile waste that end up in the landfill. So this is what I was saying, and the internet went.
Thank you for finishing your answer there. And you shared some really powerful points in your response to that question and the ones previously. I have just one more question, and then I want to solicit at least a few questions from the audience. And I guess my final question is just, how can people like best contribute or support your work? Because in many ways, the whole focus of this presentation is about textile waste affecting the global South, and how do we reduce that? And you, more than certainly anyone in our lab or on our team, is leading the charge in terms of actually responding and making a difference. And so I have some links like later in the presentation about like specific ways people can donate, people can connect with you and get involved, but just kind of in a more like general sense, what are the types of support that are really helpful to you as an activist from other organizations, from other people, both in Ghana and the US? Like, how can people amplify and support your work?
So all the work that we do here is all about funding. Without a funding, MFI cannot continue. Our partner, MFC, is the partner who supports the MFI for now, and we need more hands because the artisans that we work with, we give them a wages, startup wages, that after they complete their service, we have to give them a startup where they can start their own small way. The permanent workers we have here, we give them wage for each month. We do that. Even the apprenticeship programs we do also, all is about funding. We go to the community, advocate for all these things, and all is about funding. So when you donate to MFI, you have supported MFI fully. And our product also that we produce, you can share it to friends, family. When they buy each one of the fabric, they've supported MFI. So this is the way I want everyone on this platform to do to support MFI. Thank you.